Peugeot peeps, this is Neshi Locatz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page, excuse me, for the morning card draw information and spiritual conversation, actually. I'm so glad to be here with all of you. It is Wednesday, August 1st. August 1st. I know. July was gone in a blink, less than a blink of an eye, wasn't it? It really was. So today is, and I say this every day, but it's gorgeous here. You'd think that, where does she live? It's gorgeous every day. I live in northwestern Wisconsin, and we have been under pretty much sunny blue skies for quite a while. We've had some rain, but not much. And but it is really pretty out this morning. Yeah. Well, good morning, Margaret. Good morning to you. And it looks like Elise joined too, which hopefully that means that Mary Ann joined as well. Good morning, ladies. Yes, it has been a beautiful morning here. Getting up this morning a little bit before 6, it was above 57 degrees. And it's not too cold. It's not real warm, but it's, it was nice. It was nice to open up the windows and let the fresh air in. Fresh air. Those of us that have allergies, sometimes we would not say that quite liberally in August. All that hay fever. But at any rate, oh my gosh, that tastes good. Yum. My first cup this morning. So I wanted to thank those people that were in the live chat during my show last night, Communications from Home, and also those that have watched the recorded show. I appreciate that. But what I really wanted to mention this morning is for those people in the live chat that were saying, when are you going to take a vacation? I don't remember if that was you, Elise, or if that was I can't remember who it was. Anyway, I do appreciate that because it has been kind of a long haul since, I would say, September, October-ish, definitely since January. And I do need to take some time off. I haven't had any really time off from work, say, and also taking care of my mom since March 17th. And, you can feel it. You can feel it. Need that special break. We really do. Otherwise, you break, right? Yeah. No, I do need to take some time off, and I need to arrange that. It takes a little bit of effort to get some time off because, having somebody come in to stay with mom and all that. I do have brothers who do usually come and do that. But it does take a little time. It takes some time to coordinate all of that. And for those of you who are primary caregivers, you know exactly what I mean. It's not like you can just up and say, you know what, I think let's go away for the weekend. Nah, that doesn't happen. But more importantly, for those people who were in the live chat yesterday morning for this, as Elise calls it, Neshi's non-show, the card draw live stream, knows that I shared that my husband hasn't been feeling well. And when I got done with the show yesterday, when I went back down to the house, I checked in on mom and we gave her lunch, and I had gone up to check on Paul, and he had been sleeping, so I let him sleep. After lunch, I went back up to check on him, and I woke him up so I could take his temperature one more time. Well, we had thought his temperature had broken. But it hadn't. It had gone back up to 102.9 or something like that. And I said, okay, that's it. You're going to the doctor. And usually I would get a pretty big, no, I'm not going to any doctor. But he said, okay. So I knew that he was truly, truly not feeling well. Well, we spent the afternoon in a walk-in clinic, and which is pretty small here in the Toma area. It's really small, and it's not like it took forever for them to see him. It just took a while for them to get things coordinated on their end, because I needed to take him from the walk-in clinic down to the hospital to get lab work done. And from that lab work, he was diagnosed with pneumonia. Yay, right? Middle of the summer pneumonia. We did catch it in time. It's in the lower right lobe only, which is actually not all that horrible, because if it was full blown pneumonia, it wouldn't be good. So so we had to kind of reschedule things, and you know I had to reschedule some of the meetings that I had, calls and that kind of thing. Um, so thank you for those who said, good energy, prayers coming his way yesterday. It really did help, and I appreciate that. So I wanted to say thank you. Um, so this morning, this morning, you can get a lot done when you're not taking your time dawdling with stuff. Which I usually do in the mornings. I have to admit that it does take me a little bit longer to do, like the card read. I like to sit down and really get connected. It's my time in the morning to close my eyes and feel grandmother earth and grandfather sky. And I did that this morning too, but it was kind of a little bit on the fast mode. Got my card read in, and did some errands. We needed to go and get some things for Paul, for him, for today. He is on medication, but I had to go get him Tylenol and run an errand for his mom, and that kind of stuff. So it's doable, and I want to share with you that it's not that I didn't freak out for a moment, because I did. And then I remembered, okay, let's get the team on board here. Okay, talking to my spiritual team, and they reminded me, okay, get grounded. Okay, worked on the grounding. Big deep breath. Okay, we can do this, right? And so, yeah. I felt more grounded and put together than I did in the morning. In the morning, it was kind of shaky yesterday morning, but by the time I crawled into bed last night, it was a lot better. Really, really was. So Lisa's saying, poor Paul, I had it once and it was miserable. Give him a hug. I certainly will. I've actually had pneumonia 4 times. Not in a long, long time. The last time I had pneumonia was, oh gosh, maybe 98, 97, 98, I think. Anyway, yeah, I had it 4 times prior to that, in a span of 3 years, I think. And let me tell you, the last time I had it, I actually got angry because I was doing everything I could to try to have a good immune system, and really and work on that piece. Was doing massage, chiropractic. I was eating well. I was making sure I got enough sleep and hydration, the works. And I wasn't feeling good, and I thought, oh no, not this again. Because once you've had it, you recognize it. And sure enough, we went to the clinic and they diagnosed me. And I remember riding home, and I was so angry I was crying. But you know what? What that did was it excelled me, pushed me into the direction of, it's not just your physical body we're dealing with. You also have to pay attention to your emotional body, and also your ascension piece. And so that really was a huge wake-up call. So I don't know what this is for Paul. We haven't had a chance to sit down and discuss it. He was feeling well enough to come downstairs this morning. He was actually feeling a little hungry. Hadn't had anything to eat probably since noon Sunday. And so he ventured out and had some dry toast and some ginger ale. Yay. But he was downstairs for about 20-30 minutes, and I looked at him. I said, I think you better go back to bed. And he says, no, I'm good. I said, you don't look good. Let's go back to bed. And so I helped him back up the stairs, and right now he's sleeping. So, and I wanted to continue with the live stream this morning because, one, I like being with you guys, and two is that it's a time and that I can actually spend kind of focused on just one thing, and that's this with you guys. And so it's really good. It's good for me. Hey, Nicole Warner has joined us. Nicole, good morning, Nicole. That is one busy woman, and it makes me happy whenever I see you in the chat. Elise is saying it was the coughing and so scary not being able to breathe. Yes. Yes, he was coughing so hard yesterday early morning. I want to say about 3 o'clock, between 2 and 4, something like that, a.m. Then he made himself sick, and so he kept saying, I hate the flu, I hate the flu, and really did have some of the symptoms of the flu, but it was for me it was the temperature, his body temperature when it went down to 99, and then within a couple of hours it was back up to 102.9. It was almost 103, and I knew that this isn't just your typical flu. Oh, thank you, Margaret. We enjoy being with you too. I thank you so much. So, for those who haven't been with us for a while or just tuning in, we have switched card decks, and we are now using the Sacred Geometry by Francine Hart, and this was published in 2001. It was when I first started my studies with sacred geometry and all about sacred geometry. And so I think we started this like on the 30th of July. So it's been a couple of days. And I kind of had to smile at the cards that came this morning. So in this particular card draw, it's more than just one card. In order to have the balance between the male and female energies and how energy flows, right, is we draw 2 cards. And so the right hand side of the cards is the mental thought and male energies. And on the left side of the card draw is the intuition, emotions, and female energies. All right. And so the male energy that was drawn for this today, I had to kind of smile at this one, is that it's the Sacred Union card. Okay. The Sacred Union. And on her cards, she always has the lotus somewhere. And on this particular card, the lotus is right in the center, and its stem and its roots down near the bottom, of course. And the way that it's going up is kind of a spiral. And she says in her writings about this card is that it's supposed to represent healing, much like the caduceus. Yeah. The artwork on these cards are very interesting. So you can kind of see the lotus flower right about here, right? And then again up further. So, and when I was looking at this card after reading it, I thought, all right. So when you see the card, you see the bud right here of the lotus, right? And as it starts to flower and actually moving up in energy until you get to the very top, which you kind of like this spirally, smoky kind of energy coming through it. So it's a very interesting and I think powerful card because it says so much in just the image. Let me tell you what Francine writes about this card, and then we'll talk about it a bit. So the card represents passion and spirit. Okay. And she says that this card explores how love grows and entwines and becomes holistic joining. She says, like the caduceus, such symbolizes healing. 2 roses, it's roses, not lotuses. Roses intertwine with the stem and the blossoms of the water lilies to create a flowering of earthly love. Golden spirals from a fountain from which lovers drink the nectar of passion and spirit. Finding and maintaining relationships is one of the most challenging and rewarding aspects of our human experience. When I read that sentence, I thought, ain't that the truth? And I know that she's referring to your partnership, your significant other. and possibly that significant other is the one that you have made vows to or with, either in a legal sense or in a spiritual sense. Okay, because not all relationships are a legal relationship. There are many people who do vows to each other who have not gone before a judge or a clergy kind of person to have their relationship. And for me, in my 2 cents, is that when you have a marriage, okay, when you have a marriage, coming together, that sacred union is that you can have the legal sacred union, but that doesn't always mean that you have the commitment and the love that's going to last through a lot of crap. The ones that kind of stick together when things are through thick and thin, they say, right? Now the vows do, depending on whether you wrote your own vows or if you have the more traditional vows. And the traditional vows, it talks about through let's see if I can remember this, through sickness and health, and to rich and poor, that kind of stuff. And those vows sit in our Akashic record. When we make those vows to somebody, whether it's the legal vow or if it's the vow of the heart, those vows sit in our Akashic records. Yeah. And if you took the traditional vows, it says until death do us part, which means that if you get divorced, if you separate, that vow is still sitting there in your Akashic records because you said until death do us part. So if neither one of you have died, then that vow is still valid and sitting in your Akashic record. If you have written your own vows and haven't put that in there, chances are that once you make the decision to go your separate ways, that breaks the vow. Possibly. It depends on what you said in your vows, right? So when she writes that finding and maintaining relationships is the most challenging and rewarding. And like I said, I know that she's writing about that relationship between that has this marriage, this connection between two people, right? But when I sat and I thought about this a little bit, it really, we can look at it even in a more expansive way, where it's all of our relationships. It's the relationship to ourself. It's the relationship to those special people in your life, those ones that are your inner circle, the ones that have the tightest relationship with, to your coworkers and acquaintances, and even our relationship to Grandmother Earth and Grandfather Sky. All of those relationships, I think, are designed to help us learn what we're supposed to learn here on our Earth walk, and all those lessons that we're meant to go through and learn here, and it's those it's those people in our relationships that cause us the most angst and the most the friction, the rubbing you the wrong way across the green kind of thing. The ones that you have the most difficulty relating to are the ones that love us the most in spirit, because they chose to, they agreed to play that part for us here in this earth life. And we've done the same thing with someone else, because we're we have to be honest. We are also someone else's rub and friction in the relationship. That we're also the one who plays a role for someone else in that way. I remember the day when I actually kind of thought about that and realized, hey, it's just not happening to me. It's happening to others too, and I could be playing that part for someone else and taking responsibility for that, right? Yeah, that was a light bulb moment for me. Mm. It takes you out of the victim mode. It's like, oh my gosh, I could be, and it could be in a very innocent and, uh, a way that not unintentional, at least in an intellectual level, unintentional. It's when it becomes intentional and you're making plans to, when she says this, I'm saying that. Or when they do this, I know I'm going to do that. It becomes premeditated at that point, and moves it into a whole different classification, right? I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I think that there's at least a couple of different ways of looking at and understanding this card and the energy around this card, the sacred union. Because I know that she's referring to, um, the relationship that we have with another person, that is passionate, that is, um, our significant other, right? Yeah, I know that that's what she intends this card to be about. But I was thinking that even in our friendships, even in those people within our closest circle of friends, the ones that have been there with us through thick and thin, they're the ones that will cheerlead for us. They're also the ones that will call us on our stuff. It's like, hey, do you really mean that? Did you know that that's how it came off? That's what it sounded like. That old joke about, who your best friend is that, they're just not there to bail you out, but they're sitting next to you, right? Um, in the jail cell. That those people in your inner circle, I would say, is a sacred union because we share things with them that we would not share with someone else. They know things about us, um, on an intimate level that we may not share with a lot of other people. And so I believe that too is a sacred union, because we trust each other. We trust each other. Yeah. Okay. So this is what else that Francine says about this. She says this card asks you to look closely at what you want from the person you have chosen or are seeking to be your lifetime partner. Is this relationship dedicated solely to passion? Sweet and exciting as that may be, passion alone will not sustain love over time. Only when you share in passion and in spirit will you find the path to a lasting relationship. If this is your quest, then consult the intelligence of your heart, and by your intention, you will attract that sacred union into your life. But she says to be clear with your intentions and reclaim the sacredness of this union. You know, I do believe that when we make the decision to have someone in our lives that fills that part of our life, that there is some intention to it. It just doesn't happen, without that intention, I think. Yeah. And and I always qualify this when I have a friend coming to me about relationship information or questions, or they're having a rough time, right? And I'll sit and I'll listen to them, um, usually without interrupting them so they can get their whole story out. But if there's someone that has done a lot of dating and, a lot of breakups, I have a really, really close friend like this. Um, two of them actually, two of them that have been through this. And, and I can empathize with them, but I can't sympathize because I've only had really the one relationship, and that's Paul. And so I can't give them, direct what ifs, or, the kind of insights that someone else could give them that has been through something similar, right? If they want to know about how to do this a long lasting relationship, I got a couple things to say. And I've told them this is that, as much as I want to be able to sit down and help you, I think we need to find somebody that in our group who has been down this road and can also sympathize with what you're going through, and to be able to maybe give you some possible resolution or solutions or ideas of some sort. And so at least I'm honest with them, because I can't help them with all of that. I am a good person to listen and hand you a Kleenex, give you a hug, hold you while you're crying. But to give you that kind of relationship information, we need help with that. We need to go to someone else and see. And I think that is not just honesty, but it's you're not promising something that you can't deliver. And in a relationship, I think that's important. Yeah. So, trying to find someone else that they can talk to, and really they have that kind of assistance with it, right? Yeah. So I don't know. For those who are in the chat, and when we're thinking about sacred union, and this was on the masculine side of the card draw, sacred union. So it puts it into the realm of thought and understanding it mentally, the mental understanding of it. Because sometimes I think that we confuse passion with lust. Yeah. Now, there's nothing wrong with lust, that's for sure. But I think that the lust part is short-lived. It's finite. It has a high energy content to it, but to sustain something like that, it takes a lot of focus and a lot of energy to sustain that. Whereas passion for, in the way that I understand it, is that it takes much longer. It's a long burning, it's not a flash in the pan, that it has a long burning. The fuel that it takes to burn that long lasting is easy to, do I want to use the word easy? Maybe not. The focus is a little bit different and a long lasting. Yeah. Yep. And so I think that your definition between passion and lust is really could be an insight to what kind of relationship you're involved in, or the kind of relationship that you're looking for, right? And that's if you're looking for a significant other, a partner. But I think it can also to relate to the kind of relationship that you have with friends. Because don't we have those kind of friends that very intense when you're like on vacation together, or girls' night out or something like that. And so it's got an intensity to it that it just burns just a little while. And then you don't see that person or those people again for months, weeks, years, at a time. And yet then there's other relationships that you might not see them as often either, months, weeks, years. But you have the relationship you have with those people are much more long lasting. They have much more depth to them because you might not see them in person, but you have spent time with them either on the phone or sending cards or doing a Skype or Messenger, that you're not physically in the same place, but you can be together through the cyber world, right? Yeah. All right. So let's go to the other card. That was Sacred Union. And the other card that we got, and we just got this the first time we did the card draw, and that was Flower of Life. All right. And when I picked this card, I had to kind of smile too, is because when we think of this card in relationship to Sacred Union, I think that just this picture alone puts a spiritual understanding of what Sacred Union is. Because the flower of life is all about creation. It represents all of creation, everything that has been created and everything that will be created. It's about the language of silence and light. And so this is the part of your relationship. Now this card came up on the left-hand side of the card draw, which means that it represents the female intuition and emotion, right? Elise is asking, where is everybody today? I don't know. It's Wednesday. That's okay. They'll catch it. They'll catch the archive. I know that Rochelle said that she was at a PT appointment, and so it's okay. The people who are supposed to be here are here live. Those that will also be available for the recorded version are supposed to be there for that too. And so it's all good. Everybody who's supposed to be where they're supposed to be at, they're there. What do they say? Right time, right place, right? Right time, right place. So there's a reason why this group is here with us, right? Okay. So with the flower of life, this is about creation. And the flower of life has within it all the building blocks used to create the 5 platonic solids, right? Okay. So when you put that together with the sacred union, it's about creating that sacredness of it. And that if you are seeking a kind of relationship that is both passion and spirit, that you have the ability to do that. You have the ability to do that. It's about creating it. And I know that there's some people out there that I've been at this for years, and I still don't have a significant other. I wish I had the insight to say exactly why that would be. But sometimes what it boils down is establishing that sacred relationship with yourself first. And what that means to you individually and uniquely is that when we have that sacred relationship with ourselves first, we really know exactly what kind of relationship we're looking for with someone else. And there's some people, it happens very, very quickly and seemingly easy. It's like when I met Paul, I was 18. We had just graduated from high school. Didn't know him through that young adolescence age and that young adult age. And then we were married by age 19. So he and I literally grew up together. It was not really difficult. Now, it doesn't mean that we haven't had our issues and had to work on those. Those have been there. But what I'm talking about is that the meeting of him, I knew I was going to have somebody in my life that had certain physical qualities because I had this vision, this dream about him. And I had to wait for that to happen. Let's see. I had to wait 5 years, almost 6 years for that to happen. So I knew he was going to have dark hair. I knew he was going to have glasses, and I knew he was going to have green eyes. And I knew that we were going to have this special relationship. And I got that out of the dream that I had. But when I met him, I made it difficult because I wanted to experience life in Wisconsin Dells in the summertime as a 18-year-old, which meant that I was of age, right, at that time. And so when he asked me out, I said no. When he asked me out, I said no. When he asked me out, I said no. I waited 5 or 6 years for this guy. And when he comes along, I tell him no. What's with that, right? Hey, Pam Easta's in the house too. And so and when I said seemingly, it's because sometimes we get in our own way of that. Yeah. And this is the part about knowing yourself. Because to be honest, I wasn't ready to have that kind of relationship when he first asked me out. I'd waited for it so long. And then when it came around, it was like, are you kidding me? Right now, when I have the chance to experience this in the summertime, right? And eventually I did say yes. And we went out and been going out ever since for 41 years and or soon to be 41. So yeah, so if you're looking for a relationship and seeking that kind of relationship and haven't found it yet, you want to be in a good relationship with yourself first. And then if you are self-sabotaging, you have to be honest with that too. Yeah. All right. So remember when I just said something about there's two different kinds of, I feel that there are two different kind of unions. That there is the marriage of the legal marriage, that you say vows and all of that, right? You sign papers for. And then there's the marriage of the heart. And though you can have both, or you can have one without the other. Yeah. Now, in either case, you are saying vows to another person. And those vows sit in your Akashic record. And if you've said the traditional vows, until death do you part, that literally means that vow is going to sit in your Akashic records until that happens, or until you do a ceremony to take that out of your Akashic record, leaving the life lessons in there, so you don't have to redo those life lessons, but to remove any of the trauma and to break that vow. Rescind it is a better way to put it. Rescinding it. And you can do that. And if you didn't have the traditional vows, then you'd have to look at the vows that you said in your non-traditional way, or of the marriage of the heart, and see, what did you promise the other person? What did you vow to the other person? Because that too is going to sit in your Akashic records until you rescind it. Okay. So if you're looking for, in search of a lasting relationship, and you have made other vows to other people, those can become an interference, a barrier to the next relationship. or the relationship that you're meant to have right now. Yeah. Okay. So, and also the flower of life is also the repository. It is also the Akashic records. I'm trying to remember where she wrote that in here. Because the flower of life, she says, it represents pure life force containing our cellular memory, and it becomes the matrix of all matter. And I thought I highlighted that. She says that the flower of life is an Akashic information system, meaning it contains records of all that was, all that is, and all that will be. The messages it offers are both intimately personal and universal. Okay. So when we pair this up with the Sacred Union card, which I'll pull that out again. I can find it. I know it's here. The Sacred Union card, because these are the two cards that we got today. So the Flower of Life was on the right-hand side of the card draw, which is the mental and male aspect of the energies. And the Sacred Union was on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, which represents the female intuition and emotions. And so with these two cards, I believe the energy for day is about creating a sacred union, a relationship that we have the ability to do that, to create that. And to look at ourselves, to be honest with ourselves on what kind of relationship are we looking for? And if we're looking for that kind of relationship, that really is the kind of relationship we should have with ourselves. If you're looking for somebody who is going to treat you well, who is going to respect and honor you, who is going to love you unconditionally, or with a few conditions, those are the things, that's the kind of relationship you're looking for from yourself, to yourself. Yeah, I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? What happens with that? Because, I think that when we're looking for that relationship with someone else and we do our list, have you ever done that? Made the list of the qualities that you want to have in that relationship. And it works. It does work, but it works even, I think, more thoroughly, has a better foundation to it, because those are the qualities that you're looking for in yourself. You want to be that reflection, right? We want that other person to reflect those energies to us. So kind of a deep subject for a Wednesday morning. But, I really do believe it has, that sacred union needs to start with ourselves. Yep. And much like, what was that card? The Sacred Union, right? And she talked about, in this image, you can kind of see the roots down here at the bottom, right? And there's two different flowers there. She says one is the lotus and one is the rose. And they're growing out from Grandmother Earth and they're spiraling up. She likens it to the caduceus, about healing. So we can take that as a way of, if we're looking for that positive, rich and loving relationship with someone else, that's the kind of relationship that we want with ourselves. Makes sense to me. It does. So I don't know. We have, we should probably even branch out a little bit further, expand that. Is that what is the kind of relationship do you have with Grandmother Earth and Grandfather Sky, with Spirit? What's your relationship there? Because this morning when I sat down to do the card draw, I sat down and I asked my spiritual team for everybody to come, to please be with me, because I wanted to out loud thank them for everything that they do with me, for me, help me with, because they were there for me yesterday, for sure. They really were. And so I wanted to thank them for that, and let them know that I appreciate them being here with me, to help me on this earth walk. Yeah. And that I would, that I really consciously listen. And when they show me something, I see it. That I really take in the information that they give me, that sometimes I don't understand it, and that I ask questions about it. And it's like the other night, that would have been Monday night, I think. Yeah, it was Monday night. Paul was having a hard night that night, and I was trying to get at least a couple hours sleep, and I closed my eyes, and what flashed in front of me was the word failed, fail. And my eyes flew open, and I'm going, fail at what? You got to give me more than that, because that just freaked me out. So what are you talking about? What are we doing here? What failed? What's going to fail? And is that in that failing, is there harm going to be done in with that failing? And yeah. And so what they were really talking about is that what Paul was taking NyQuil because he thought he had the flu. And that's what they were talking about, is that the NyQuil was failing. It's like, okay, deep breath. I got to calm. You guys, you freaked me out. Give me a little bit more information about that than what you just did, because, I'll take it in, and I'll try to figure out how I'm supposed to use this information. But you need to give me more than just one word like that, especially when it's coming to this, right? Yeah. So Elise is saying, off the subject, but ordered a new flute today. Hopefully will work better with these fingers and this disease. Oh, good. Congratulations, Elise. Bring that with you in September if you can. Yeah, that'd be good. It's called a sparrowhawk. Well, that's got some energy to it. And Elise says, I love Grandmother Earth and all she teaches me. Me too. Me too. So, that relationship that we have with our spiritual team, and I do include Grandmother Earth and Grandfather Sky in my spiritual team. We have more than just a couple. We have a whole entourage. We have a huge entourage that helps us here with our Earth walk. Yeah. So the other night, all right, so I've shared with you guys that dreams are very important in my life. It's the way I grew up, and it's one of the things that I kept with me as a belief, because it still serves me, has continued to serve me, and so it's the dream interpretation, both the sleep time dreams, the dreams that a lot of people say that I don't get it. It was all over the place. There's a lot of symbolism in those dreams that help us to work through our emotional stuff. And then there's the dreamtime dreams. The dreamtime dreams are the ones that are very, it's our soul or spirit that is maybe going to other dimensions. But there's also information coming in that is, lack of a better word, more prophetic in nature. And those are the dreams that we really pay attention to. We pay attention to all of them, but this last one is a piece that is really important, right? And I grew up sharing about these kind of dreams. I thought everybody did that over their breakfast table, but I was wrong. And so anyway, with dreams. So I want to share this one with you because it's not quite complete. And I was going to wait, but I think that it's kind of important. Is in this dream I had, there were two tornadoes. And one tornado was quite a distance away. It was a good sized tornado, but it was quite a distance away, and we had to wait for it to come to us so we could see it coming, right? And I was there, but I don't know who was actually there. Was people standing with me, and I knew them, but I don't know who they were. If you know what I mean, is that I didn't. I don't know exactly. By name who they were, and we could see it coming, and we knew that we had plenty of time to prepare for it, and we had to make sure everybody was going to be safe, right? We could do that. We were actually in the process of doing that and monitoring it. How close was it coming? And and it was like we were looking down a wide road. It wasn't like the interstate or anything like that, but it was a wider road. Maybe it was a 2-lane road, could be, but it was wide enough, and we could see it coming. It was like a straight shot. We could see it. All right, so the next one is that I am in a building, and I'm holding a child, and the child is frightened. All right, and I'm holding the child, and there's this man who is standing next to me, kind of in front of me. And so the child is kind of in between us, right? And there was a tornado coming through. I couldn't see the tornado, but I knew it was approaching because you could hear it. You could hear the wind. You could feel the building kind of rattling. And I'm looking at this child, and I'm saying, now you hang on. Do not let go. Don't let go, because I've got you. All right. So don't let go. I've got you. And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm saying, and you hang on to me and to the whatever it was that he was hanging on to, and don't let go. And so the tornado went through, and it shook things pretty well, but we were safe. We were good. We weren't hurt. We weren't. The building stayed put. It wasn't flying up in the sky or anything like that. But we stayed put. And when it was done, is when I woke up. And I laid there for a while thinking, okay, this is a significant dream. We got two things that are winds of change coming. One I can see that's approaching and prepare for it. And the other one I didn't know was coming. And we did the best we could to prepare for it. And we survived it. We were safe. Okay. So today I know one of those is Paul's pneumonia. Because that's a significant change in how our life flows here, right? Because I have to add a little bit more things in there to help him. So I'm looking, I'm watching, I'm asking my spiritual team, show me when it's on its way, so I can see it from a distance. And so our relationship to our spiritual team is also a sacred union. and one that should be nurtured and cared for, respected. And that's where I was going with that. So thank you for letting me share that dream with you. I appreciate that because I hadn't shared it with anybody yet. And sometimes you need to do that. All right. So let's see. Elisa's saying she seems to put me in check and tells me what I need to be doing. That's good. And that you're listening. Hmm. That's a good one. And that's a relationship. That's a relationship to nurture and to love. Yeah. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And please, take whatever you heard about the Sacred Union and the Flower of Life cards and what anything and everything that resonated with you. That's great. Embrace it. Watch how it unfolds for you today, how the energy flows to you today, and how you interact with it, right? Yeah. And if it didn't resonate with you, that's okay. That's all right. You can leave it. Don't need to take it with you. Perhaps you're a messenger and you can share this information with somebody that spirit brings to you and say, hey, I just heard about something. And you can share it with them, whether you do it yourself or you can share the recorded video live stream show with them. Either way, it's all good. It's all good. And we'll see, hopefully we'll see you in the chat room tonight for Polly Joe's Soul Connections. It's an hour of divine healing and messages, and that's on at 7 p.m. Eastern time at Chakra Sessions fan page. And hopefully we'll see you there, okay? Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for being with me today. We'll see you tomorrow for the card draw. Bama Mina. Until we see each other again.